Hi, good morning. You are welcome to today's lecture. Last week we started understanding the human body. We introduced ourselves to it. We looked at the external and the internal human organs, or the external and the internal human parts. Then we looked at some of the systems. Before that we looked at the cells, the tissues and organs, and we came to some of the systems. We talked about digestive system, respiratory system, and circulatory system, and also musculoskeletal system. Today we're going to look at quite a number of or some of the systems. We are going to look at the nervous system, immune system, endocrine system, and some other systems. So I believe that today's lecture is going to help you understand the human body, and it's going to help you appreciate it. The nervous system, the immune system, and the other systems that you are going to look at. So the nervous system, when we talk about nervous system, we are talking about basically talking about impulses, feelings. Whenever you're able to tell when something is cold, you're able to tell when something is hot. You're able to taste food. You're able to smell when something, the scent of something. If there's an odor, you're able to smell it. If there's a nice fragrance, you're able to smell it. You're able to hear. You're able to feel pain. All these things are controlled by something we call the nervous system. The nervous system. So the nervous system control, direct, and coordinate so many body functions, and by transmitting signals to and from other body parts. So then you see a picture very soon, but they look like wires, and they are in so many parts, every part of the body, and they connect back to the brain and the spinal cord. They connect back to the brain, and the brain interprets whatever message you are getting. So if you hold something hot, it sends information or signals to the brain, like a wire transmitting current. So it sends whatever you hold is turned into a current and goes to the brain. Your brain interprets it as hot or cold, and at times tell you, oh, remove your hand before you get burned, or you can still hold it, nothing will happen. So that's the nervous system. And we have two main divisions of the nervous system. We have the central nervous system, and we have the peripheral nervous system. The central and the peripheral. The central nervous system is made up of the brain and the spinal cord. So we have the brain and the spinal cord. They make up the central nervous system. And the peripheral nervous systems involve the nerves. The nerves are the wires I talked about I just talked about. That's the wires. They are the nerves. So they connect to the spinal cord and the brain, and that's the central nervous system. They work together to achieve it. So the nerves bring the information. They are like the wires. They are like, so let me use a television set, and so there will be wires connected to the main electric pole. So it brings the current from the electric pole, then it comes to the television. That's where it's being able to change it into changes so that you'll be able to watch television. So the brain and the spinal cord, the brain is like the television system there. So as the wires bring the current, and the television sets interpret it and change into vision or something you can watch. Also a radio set is the same way. So it's bring the current through the wires and comes to the radio, and the radio change the currents into a sound that you can hear and listen to dance and boogie. So that's just like the nervous system. So I told you they are like wires. So you can see the brain which is in our head, and the spinal cord, which is in our spine, it's our back. The spinal cord, then you can see the wires, the nerves. They are the wires. The nerves is what I call the wires. And so they move into every part of the body. You're able to feel, you're even able to raise your hands, see that everything the body does in one way or the other is being controlled by the nervous system. Urination. So whenever it is damaged, that body part is not able to function. That body part is not able to function. So very well. So that's the nervous system. So still the nervous system. So central nervous system, talk of the brain, the spinal cord, peripheral nervous system. So here it has been, peripheral nervous system have been divided into cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. You have to bother much about it. So that's the nervous system. We are done with the nervous system. You can read the manual for more information. So we have let's move to the circulatory system. They are made up of the cardiovascular system. They are made up of the blood, the heart, and the blood vessels. Your heart, that pumps the blood, and it pumps it into the blood vessels. The blood vessels, you have the veins and the arteries. Then you have the blood itself. So the heart pumps blood through the blood vessels. What the blood does is that blood actually carries oxygen. Last week we learned about the fact that the body takes in oxygen through the respiratory system. When the body takes in oxygen, it goes into the blood. The oxygen is not used in the blood, but has to be used in the cells. So the blood carries the oxygen and distributes it to the various cells so that they can use it to produce energy. The same way it carries food, the food we eat, it goes into the blood. In fact, most of the things that end up going back into our body end up in the blood to be transported to be used. So the function of the blood is to move nutrients, food and oxygen, move nutrients and the rest, so that other parts of the body can also receive it. That's the circulatory system. And also blood also remove waste product from cells. So it remove waste product from cells. So after production, for instance, when the oxygen and the nutrient move into the cell, they produce energy. After that energy is produced, there's waste products. That waste product also come back to the cell, come back to the blood, and that is removed. For instance, if there is carbon dioxide production, it come back for the lungs to remove it. That's what we breathe out. So we say human beings breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. If there are other things like urea and many other things the body doesn't want, the kidney remove it and it comes out as urine. At times the skin remove it and it comes out as sweat. So that's there. It also helps in temperature regulation. At times if during the cold weather, blood supply to the surfaces of the skin is reduced a little bit, there is what you call the vessels constrict or become smaller, so that blood supply to the place becomes smaller, so that no more the body doesn't lose a lot of heat. When there is a lot of heat, what happens is that there is the blood vessels dilate or become bigger. That's what we call vasodilation, and a lot of heat leaves the body. So it helps in temperature regulation. Last time we talked about the fact that the musculoskeletal system also helps in body temperature regulation. So heat from muscle activity is carried by the blood to other parts of the body. So I've talked about that, about temperature regulation. So the circulatory system also produces and carries cells that defend body from disease causing of microorganisms. So they contain the white blood cells that fight diseases, so or defend us from a lot of diseases. So basically that's what the circulatory system, the blood is involved in. So as you can see, this picture actually depicts the circulatory system. So you have your heart here. You can see the red blood is actually oxygenated blood that has oxygen, and blue blood is actually the oxygenated blood that do not have oxygen. We have different types of blood vessels. We have the vein and the arteries. you have the vein and the artery. So veins normally carries blood to the heart, and arteries carry blood away from the heart. You also have the capillaries. They are tiny blood vessels. That's where blood nutrients are actually moved to the cells, and also waste products from the cells are actually moved to the blood to be taken away either by the kidney, by the respiratory system, or by the or sometimes removed through the skin. So this is the circulatory system. The heart here, lots of blood vessels, just like wires moving in there to supply blood and take blood to the heart. Supply blood. So anytime the blood comes back to the heart, it is pumped into the lungs for it to go and get fresh oxygen. Then it come back to the heart and pump into the other parts of the body for it to get oxygen. So blood moves through the body, then comes to the heart. When it comes to the heart, it comes there to get oxygen. Then when it comes to the heart, it is pumped to the lungs to get oxygen, and from the lungs to come back to the heart again. Then it is pumped to the rest of the body. The oxygenated blood is pumped to the rest of the body. So this is a picture of only the heart. So we have the right ventricle, we have the left ventricle, left atrium, right atrium. Let's move to the urinary system. So the function of the urinary system are to remove waste products from the blood and to maintain water balance within the body. I've talked about the fact that when the cells produce waste products, it come back to the heart. It come back to the blood vessel, or come back to the blood. What removes the waste products? One of the organs that remove the waste products, or one of the systems involved in moving waste products, is the urinary system. It removes a lot of waste from our body. It moves a lot of waste from our body. And so that's the job, to remove waste products from the body, and also make sure that we have adequate water balance. You are not having excess, or you are not having an excess of it sitting up in the body. They are made up. We have the kidneys. When you talk about the urinary system, you have the kidneys, you have the urethra, you have the urinary bladder, you have the urethra. Actually, the kidney is the one that takes the waste product from the blood. The urethra is a small tube, you get to see it, that carries the urine to the bladder, urinary bladder, where it is stored, and from the urinary bladder it moves into the urethra to come out from the body. The kidney filter the blood of waste substances and also water, and the urethra also carry urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder. I think I've talked about this. And also the urinary bladder is a sac that temporarily store the urine until the desire to urinate is felt. Usually when your bladder is about 250 mils, has about 250 mils of urine, you start having the urge to wee wee. And 250 mils is like half a sachet water. You start having the urge, but if you don't go, it starts the body, your urine continue to add urine, more urine to it. So you are ready to go and pee. You are ready to go and pee. Urine actually passes through the urethra to the outside of the body. Normal urine color is it's somehow clear and yellowish. Urine is somehow clear. It should be clear when you say something is normal, because the color of the urine can tell a lot of diseases. Urine, because it removes a lot of waste substances, it's one of the things that we can analyze to tell you a lot of diseases, and their color and their appearance tell us a lot. And normal urine should be clear and yellowish in color, what you normally call the amber, but quite yellowish in color. So we talk about the kidneys here, the urethra here, the bladder that store it, and the urethra. For the male, the urethra moves into their penis, and the female, they have a small pot, a hole beside their vagina, their vulva, or beside their, it is in the vulva, but it's beside their vaginal hole that that the urine comes out from. So let's move to the endocrine system. Actually, um, the endocrine system is made up of glands called the endocrine glands. So what they do is they secrete chemical substances which we call hormones. What hormones do is that they regulate activities of other organs. So for the ladies, before you can menstruate, you have a hormone doing that. Hormone that is causing that. Even for the guys too, we have hormones in us. In fact, we all have hormones in us, and these hormones are produced by the endocrine glands. And normally when they are produced, they don't have tubes attached to it, so they are produced into the blood, and the blood send it to their target organ for the work to be done. So the pancreas secretes insulin. The pancreas secretes insulin. So what the insulin does is that when you eat, some of the food or the carbohydrate part of the food is turned into sugar. That sugar is in the blood, but it cannot be used in the blood. I told you that what the blood carries does that it carries things to the cells. Nothing happens in the blood. What it do is that it's only a transporter. So the sugar remains in the blood, but so what the blood does, the sugar is it carries the sugar around to cells that may need it. But before the sugar can move into the blood to the body cells, it needs something we call the insulin. The insulin is the carrier that will carry the sugar from the blood to the cells. So the insulin will carry one sugar and send it to the cells. So when you get to a cell that need sugar, it is the insulin that will carry it and send it to the cell. So that's the work of the insulin, and it's produced by the pancreas. It is when there is a problem with it that you realize that that's when you see someone is having diabetes. When there's a problem with the insulin production, or at times the body can produce the insulin, but it is not able to work. That is what we call diabetes. So when you hear someone saying there is diabetes, then there is a problem. Then there's a problem with the insulin that's being produced by the pancreas. Then we also have the testes that secrete the testosterone for male reproduction. So for one to become a man, where the person can produce sperms, the person can all the male features, broken voice, and muscular person looking muscular, where there's some six packs, other things start forming, the rest growing beards and the rest. You need the testosterone. So that is produced by the testes. What we call in Chi as the intoshe. That produces the testosterone. That helps in sperm production. It helps in sperm production. So those who have low production of this may have problem with fertility or giving birth. And they also have the ovaries in the ladies that produce the estrogen and the progesterone, and that's also what makes women. And they regulate a lot of things for you to be able to able to have eggs, so that the eggs can be fertilized by sperm. It's done by these two things. Even during pregnancy, they play a major role in it, and they are produced by the ovaries. When you get to the reproductive system, you get to know more about the ovaries. Then you have the adrenal glands. You can scroll back to see that on top of the kidney there are some things lying on top. We call the adrenal glands, and they secrete what we call epinephrine and norepinephrine. What this hormone does is that they're able to stimulate the body to quickly produce energy during emergency. So at times you may feel very tired, but immediately they say that you're so tired and hungry that you think you cannot do anything. But immediately someone comes and say, "Oh, I've seen a lion," then you start running. Where did you get that energy from? It is the work of this epinephrine and norepinephrine. So they actually do, they give you that energy during any emergencies to 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 do things that uh, you even on the normal day cannot do. So that's the epinephrine produced by the adrenal glands. So these adrenal glands, unlike the other systems that you see that they are connected, these ones they are not connected. We have several in other places. So in the brain you can see we have the pineal, pituitary, hypothalamus, thyroid, thymus, parathyroid, adrenal, kidney. So the adrenal gland on the kidney, and we have the pancreas, we have the ovaries, we have the uterus, we have the testes. So the endocrine system is scattered in the body, and they produce their hormones into the blood to aid target organ. So let's look at another system called the immune system. The immune system protects the body from disease and infection. Whereas it protects the body from disease and infection. So it defends against threats inside and outside the body. So when the body senses an unwanted substance, when the bacteria and viruses, what the body does is that it sees it as a foreigner. It's just like when someone from Europe comes to Ghana. We all have dark skin and they have fair skin. So when they come, we see that, oh, these people are not part of us. So we treat them as such. So the body knows everything that is in your body. In fact, everything you have in your body, the body have been programmed to the way that it knows it. When they take your heart and they replace it with another heart, if you don't take care, your body will reject it. It will say that this is not my heart. This is not the one God gave me, unless it have certain things that, or unless it resembles your heart. So your body knows everything, and if your body feel like what is in there is not what God gave you, it will kill it. That's what we call autoimmune disease. At times, some people are born with some conditions, even though they may have probably the pancreas that we talk about that produce insulin. At times the body will wake up one day like, oh, I don't know you, you are not part of my body, so you just came into my body, and you'll start fighting it. That's what we call autoimmune disease. That's the negative side of it, but let's talk about positive side. So everything that enters our body that our body don't know and cannot recognize, the body tries to fight it, and it sees, so the body tries to fight it, the immune system tries to fight it, to kill it, and that is what we call antigen. It senses what we call antigen, or unwanted substance. Just notice that an unwanted substance in your body. So the antibodies, that's what fight substance that recognize and destroy unwanted substance, are produced to attack and destroy unwanted substance. So when the bacteria enters into you, the body knows it and says that no, this is not part of my structure, so let me go and fight it. When the virus enters into you, that's what it does. What vaccines does is that at times they will say that, oh, there is vaccine for polio, let's go and take it. What most of the vaccines that we take, they are, if they say it's polio vaccine, they are microorganisms that cause polio, but they have been beaten to the fact that they are very weak. They cannot actually fight or cause disease in you. So when your body sees that virus or that microorganism, it sees that, oh, this is unwanted something, so let me produce antibodies. Another thing I will let you know is that the body have a special antibody for every disease or every microorganism, but it is not produced unless it is in the body. The body sees it. So when the body see let's say when the body see tuberculosis in you, quickly it will go and produce tuberculosis antibodies or soldiers to come and fight it. When the body sees polio, quickly it will go and produce polio to fight it. So when they send a very weak polio into you, what we call the vaccine into you, the body quickly go and prepare itself and produce soldiers or antibodies that can fight polio, so that next time a real polio will come into you, there will already be soldiers in there to fight it. That's what we call vaccination. So now they said they are looking for COVID-19 vaccine. So what they will primarily do is that the vaccines are a very weak COVID-19 virus, very weak COVID-19 virus that that cannot actually cause COVID-19, or at times they bring parts of COVID-19 virus. So when it enters the body will quickly go and produce antibodies that can fight COVID-19. So when you get the real COVID-19, there will be antibodies in there already to fight it. That's the basic understanding of vaccines. So we have the immune system, we have the tonsils and the adenoids, the lymph nodes, the appendix, bone marrow, involving production of cells, white blood cells and other cells. We have the spleen, we have the thymus. So these are all involved in production. These are all involved in protecting the body against disease. So this brings us to the end of the lecture. Today we've actually looked at nervous system, we've looked at the circulatory system or the cardiovascular system, we also looked at the endocrine system, and we looked at the immune system. Your questions and contributions are welcome. Thank you.